Yo. You rocking with the freshest, the Kruze Review on Firefly.
And TP.
Yeah, man. This is Kruze Conversation, man. We just, throw up different topics and have a conversation about it. I know what it is. So.
Yeah, and this week, man, there was an interview that I seen on this particular subject. So I'm gonna play an insert of this interview that I heard, and we're gonna give our thoughts and opinions on it.
When you understand hip-hop and street urban culture, there's no greater representation of culture than Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, like Snoop is like...
This nigga's a Crip that was Crip walking on.
He's done things that no artist, like no rapper has ever done.
And will never do.
And will never do, yeah.
30, not a hip-hop artist. Maybe like a Drake, somebody who's not of, per se, the culture.
Artist, yeah.
No, he's not.
Okay.
We're not going to do that. He's not of the street urban culture. You can't listen to music.
So is Eminem not a hip-hop artist?
He's from Detroit.
Okay.
He's from the ghetto.
Okay.
Drake is from a middle-class Canadian neighborhood.
So if someone comes from a middle-class family, they're not hip-hop.
No.
So so you're telling me, in your eyes, you have to be...
From a street urban community, yes.
In order to be considered hip-hop.
Hip-hop is the first genre of music. Forgive me, because I know everybody that listens to pop is like, you can't get...
Hold on, let's stop it right there. I got a problem with that. And the reason being is because of this, right? So he said, I know we don't like Drake. I mean, we don't like everything that he puts out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to bring this to Glasses Malone's, attention. Shout out to Glasses Malone.
Yeah.
I know he dropped the album. I'm going to listen to the album too.
Yeah. Ninth Wonder. Don't judge me, man. They tend to say that us rappers are materialistic. Say we lack substance. Me saying L about to prove me wrong, though. We know what you're thinking, love. You think we out smoking and drinking, love. Push your big whips, chains clinking, love. But y'all don't really know me like you think you know me. We know how you speculate, thinking we gon' hit your friend if you object to date. Claim her early and be showing up extra late, love. But y'all don't really know me like you think you know me. They don't be saying that I'm humble, I'm hella nice, or that I've been approached to sign a Rockefeller twice. They just tell you all the rumors.
I'm not gonna play the whole record, but we saying that's not hip hop though. And just because he comes from a middle-class Canadian background, that right there is not hip-hop. I think you're wrong, because I'm going to play another record. Once bro hears this, bro's going to probably lose his mind. Check this out.
Back in the days on the boulevard, I lived. We used to kick routines and the presence was fitting. It was the abstract. And me the 5 footer. I kicks the mask down, so step off the Frankfurter. Yo, fight, you remember that routine? That we used to mix spiffy like Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean. I ain't gonna play the whole record.
Get the message, so you guys
But okay. Glasses Malone. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Fight. Shout out Tribe. Shout out Wu-Tang for the 30th anniversary. I had to throw that in there real quick.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not from New York. I ain't ever been to New York City. I've been to New York State, but I haven't been to the city yet, right? So last time I checked, correct me if I'm wrong, but Northern Boulevard in Linden, what he was saying, right? That's not the hardest area in Queens, right?
Linden?
Well, Northern Book, where are they from? When they say Northern Book, or did they say Linden? They said Linden, right?
Yeah, they said Linden. Yeah,
Right. So that's not the hardest area in Queens, right?
Linden Boulevard? No, Linden Boulevard is on the south side. Linden Boulevard is hard.
Okay.
But here's the thing with it, where I can make you kind of understand it. A lot of people probably wouldn't understand it, but I know you would.
Yeah.
Linden Boulevard is kind of like on the south side, so the south side would be like the West End. So you know how the West End has like, like its hood.
Yeah.
But you know how the West End got some weird dudes in it too.
Yeah.
Like like dudes that comic book readers,
right,
and sci-fi, like they live in the West End. That's kind of how the South Side is. Now here's how you have to separate it. Was Q-Tip and Phife the hardest niggas on the South Side? No.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what Glasses is trying to portray is that you gotta have that street background.
No, you don't.
To be hip hop, and that's not the definition of what hip hop is.
No, it's
you gotta
not.
have that.
No, but see, that's his view. It might be that way on the West Coast. You can't put that display. You can't put it down south. It don't work like that down there either. But it definitely don't work in New York. Here's what people misconstrue when it comes to hip hop, and this is gonna clear the air with what he's trying to say and why he's wrong. And this ain't no being biased, because I already know what people gonna think where I'm going with this. But just because Hov is from Marcy Projects don't mean that he was hood. Jay's not hood. He's not hood like that. I don't know why people think that Jay's hood like that just because they see, throwback pictures of, his grill and how he had the goals or whatever. Jay's not known in the street like that to get busy. Nobody knows Jay from robbing no iron horses in New York. He was not on the block. He was not at Albee Square Mall robbing niggas for shopping. He wasn't that kind of nigga. He wasn't. Anybody that want to go in the comments and try to debate me, I dare you. I dare you. Now, it was some MCs that even before they was MCing, they're known for robbing niggas and getting it in. Nas is one of them. Whether you want to say he wasn't, or he was just talking about that in his rhyming, no, he was really doing it. Let me tell you somebody else. Havoc is another one. Let me tell you somebody else. Even though he ain't from the borough, he was doing it. Even with his background of having a famous background, he was still doing it. That's why there needs to be a movie on this person's background, because he's got to be the most underrated artist that people really don't even know the history of him. He probably has the richest history from the streets and from having money. That's Prodigy.
Yeah, I knew you was about to say that.
Everything Prodigy talked about, he was doing. Now, it might be some people, Prodigy got slapped up, he got beat up, blah, blah, blah. You can say that. That don't matter. It don't matter. The point of the factor is, he was doing everything that he was saying he was doing in his record. There's a few artists that, talk like that, but there's also a few artists that did talk like that wasn't doing it, that people give credit to. And, regardless of what you say, how I feel or whatever, I'm not saying that in a biased way. I'm saying that because it's the truth. It's a lot of MCs from Brooklyn, believe it or not, that was not on the block like that. Wasn't. They not known for their hustle game. They not known for their knuckle game. None of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a recent interview that just came out. I haven't watched it yet, but I did hear about this clip where, Nori asked Fame if he ever met Tupac, and you know, Little Fame said, "Yeah, I met Tupac when I was with Big."
Yeah. That was because y'all remember on the warning.
Yeah,
He said Lil Fame's name.
yeah,
On the warning.
yeah. So you know, there's like a misconception that people get, especially with, you know, New York City. People think just because, you know, somebody's from a certain projects, that make them hood. Let me tell you something, man. I know personally. I got family from the projects that never went outside. Never seen them outside. Never.
Yeah.
You know, and I talked about this in Crash and Burn here recently. And I'm not gonna go into detail with it, but I am gonna say this, and this is gonna highlight the difference. You know, there's a lot of people that talk about religion when it comes to hip hop. There's a lot of, believe it or not, there's a lot of MCs that grew up Jehovah's Witnesses. A lot. That's probably the most religion that artists have been, whether they R&B artists, hip hop artists, rock and roll artists. That's probably the most religion out of any religion that artists have ever been affiliated with growing up. So let me tell you something. People think, and they have the description of, oh, you know, because 50 was talking about Ja Rule, you Jehovah's Witness or whatever, like, you know, like that automatically makes somebody soft. Let me tell you something.
Right. Yeah.
I know more Jehovah's Witnesses that used to be contract killers, could scrap, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
better than normal dudes that went to church and didn't go to church.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I'm one of them. And I'm not saying that to make myself stand out, but you ask anybody personally about me, one thing they're gonna say is, the first thing they're probably gonna say is, yeah, he's from New York, he used to rhyme. Anybody that went to school with me. The next thing after that, anybody that grew up with me, and if I'm lying, you can ask my big brother, Big Lee, you can ask Lee. The next thing people gonna say about me is that, you know, he ain't let nobody mess with him. He was quiet in school. He always wore his Timberlands, but he could fight.
Yeah.
He could fight. So, you know, to say what Glasses Malone was saying, that's a contradiction, because, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, from hood areas that's not hood.
Right.
And the biggest one of them all, I don't care what nobody say, the president of them all is Jay-Z himself. He's not hood. You know, he might have had run-ins with Un, and he might have stabbed Un. I don't know how true that is or whatnot like that. But every beef situation he's come in contact with somebody when he's seen them out, Prodigy being probably the biggest one, he always, what do you hear Jay always doing? Yo, keep it in the music. Yo, it's just music. A lot of people, you know, say Prodigy's book wasn't real. There's a lot of falsism or whatever. Yeah, that might be true.
It might be a couple things.
Yeah, it might be a couple things that wasn't true. But, you know, one thing that was true in that book that he was talking about was the run-in that he had with Jay-Z in the 4040 Club, and Jermaine Dupri was in there. And why did Jermaine Dupri run for his life? Why did he get up out of there? And why did Jay stick his hand out and say, keep your music? Answer that question for me. So, you know, this description of, because I did see this, and I didn't watch it, but I did see it, and I wanted to watch it. I wanted to, you know, get into the details.
It's a good interview. I didn't finish watching the full interview, but that part kind of, I was like, nah, I don't agree with that.
No,
because he said that about Drake.
Yeah.
And also he said that about Kanye too.
Yeah, and that's not true, because Kanye is from the South Side. He's from Calumet City, and I've been to Calumet a few times, and you know, Kanye, yeah, he has, you know, there's times where he had the bougie shot, but I seen Kanye slap up a few paparazzis and get it in. Kanye can scrap. A lot of people have mentioned about Kanye could scrap. You know what I'm saying? From his hood. So, you know, even though Kanye grew up like he did, there's a few people that said on record about Kanye ain't never been no punk. And you can see that. You know what I'm saying? Where's the footage of Jay-Z scrapping? He talked all of this talk on Takeover or whatnot, but where's the footage in the so-called all of this stuff? Where's the footage of him getting the Tupac? How come he ain't do that to Pop? So, you know, people want to highlight popularity or whatever. And to be honest with you, you know, this is not a biased thing as well. This is just truth being truth. Marcy Projects wasn't known like that in music until, you know, Jay came out. They not known as the one of the hoodest hoods that, you know, niggas are scared to go to in New York.
Right.
They not. They never was. You know what I'm saying? Unless you was from another borough, like Prodigy said, yo, we jetted through Marcy, the D's ain't bagging me, you know?
Right. People went to Marcy Projects to get at the chicks in the project.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So,
from what I heard.
Marcy was not known like that. Never known to be, you know, a project like that.
Let me ask you something. Which area is rougher? Queensbridge or London Boulevard?
London Boulevard?
Yeah. Or Queensbridge. We talking about back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s?
Yeah, back in the 90s, 80s and 90s.
Nah, now that's neck and neck. Because Linden is right by Jamaica Ave, so niggas was going shopping on Jamaica Ave, and niggas was getting robbed on Jamaica Ave just like they was Albee Square Mall. Niggas was getting robbed at the Coliseum. Okay. It's Brooklyn niggas that came to the Coliseum and got robbed, just like it's Queens niggas that went to Albee Square Mall and got robbed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, people have this description of, you know, of the old school Queens, you know, because there was a time where they were saying quiet Queens. They would say, whenever they would say Queens, they would say it like that. But it was a lot of people that, you know, were scared to come to Queens.
The Supreme team.
Yeah, when, you know, the Supreme team, you know, came out, you couldn't run through Queens like that. I don't care what nobody say. You couldn't run through the South Side like that. You couldn't run through Gabru. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't run through Linden. Yeah. You couldn't run through none of those blocks. You couldn't run through Farmers. You couldn't run through Forest Hills. You couldn't run through Corona. You know, you couldn't run through Northern Boulevard like that. When G-Rap, you know, and the Juice Crew and all of that was out, Corona was known as one of the most terrible hood places, crack-infested places. I know this personally because that's what killed most of my uncles. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother had 8 boys. I only got one uncle left that's alive out of them. Him and my father are the only 2 left. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, G-Rap, a lot of people don't credit G-Rap for being the first gangster rapper, but he was. So if G-Rap was, you know, known as the first gangster rapper and he's from Corona, what do you think that says?
Yeah.
You know?
I was just making a description of A Tribe Called Quest because he was saying that you have to have that street background, and I ain't never know a Tribe Called Quest to have a real thorough background like that.
You never heard of them, you know, beat niggas up, but they didn't take no shorts. You know,
right.
You know, Q-Tip and Pac got into it.
You ain't have to be no punk.
They wasn't walking around being no tough guys, but they wasn't walking around getting, you know, $150 in the face or nothing like that. You ain't hear nothing like that. But you know, the South Side had Kruze in it. that was just as bad as Queensbridge did. The Lost Boys. People really don't know about the Lost Boys stories. You hear about the Decepticons in Brooklyn or whatever, and Sean Price and him being the leader or whatever. Let me tell you, man, somebody need to write a book about the Lost Boys. Somebody need to write a book about how they used to get it in. Cheeks alone. You know, they sleeping. They sleeping. Southside was one of the is one of the worst places. You know, right now East New York always been, you know, like that in Brooklyn. You know, you still can't walk through East New York. Nah. You know, but the biggest projects in the nation is QB. You know.
Yeah.
And that was only taken over because of Cabrini Green was knocked down in Chicago. That's really known as the biggest one, you know. But nah, that don't hold up, because just as much as, you know, there's people from, you know, like Drake that's from, you know, these sections or whatever. There's people there's people that's from these hood sections that didn't grow up hood like that don't have not a speck of, you know, scrap in them. not a, you know, there's a lot of ones in New York City that talk on record, but they ain't never bust a grape. Not a day in their life. Straight up. And it's the ones that most people give credit for. You know what I'm saying? That ain't never been to the city. Yeah. They ain't never stepped foot in New York City, but think, you know, they know every detail about. You don't know nothing. If you ain't ride none of the trains, don't even make a comment about it, because you don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna do my Tupac rant on fans later, man.
Yeah.
Cause I'm about sick of y'all Tupac fans.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm about sick of Tupac fans.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so, you know, yeah, that's what I got to detail it about. That is very falsified. Glasses Malone, I rock with you. You great artist, great dude. Like I said, you know, I'm not sure. I might rock like that on the West Coast. I can't say too much because I don't know too much about the areas or whatnot. But, you know, in the South, a lot of South places, even in Atlanta, nah. You know, because I know some dudes from even, you know, down south in Atlanta that, you know, they ain't hood like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But definitely in New York City, no. You know, a lot of dudes get credit for being hood that ain't never bust a grape, you know.
Hip hop started in New York.
Yeah, the South Bronx.
But hip hop is a culture, man.
Yeah.
So it has elements, and as long as you practicing those elements, you consider hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I know people, you know, sometimes don't like him, but ask Melly Mel, he's still alive.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Yeah.
You know, one of the pioneers of hip hop.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories, man, that ain't being detailed, you know, when it comes to, you know, people being hood. Like bro said, Melly Mel's one of them, but, you know, Melly Mel got his ass kicked too by Willie D. So that's the description right there. You know, just because you from a certain place, that don't make you tough. You know what I'm saying?
You know, the end all be all.
Yeah, straight up. But that's what it is. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, you rocking with the freshest, the Kruze Review. I'm 4 Fly.
And TP.
We out of here, yo.
Yeah.
At ease.